The storm had been threatening all afternoon, but it wasn't until the sky broke open, sheets of rain slicing through the city's neon haze, that Nora finally pulled off the road, heart pounding harder than the thunder outside. The hotel rose like a forgotten monument at the edge of town. Once grand, now quietly decaying beneath ivy and time. She didn't expect to see him there. Not after 7 years. Not like this. He stood by the fireplace in the dimly lit lounge, rain dripping from his hair, the same weary defiance in his eyes. Ethan Hayes, the man she once planned forever with, and walked away from without a word. The front desk had only one room left. Of course it did. Looks like we're stuck, he murmured, voice low rough. Nora said nothing, because the room wasn't the trap. The past was, and she had just walked straight back into it. The room was on the 3rd floor, corner suite, high ceilings, and the faded elegance of a place that once knew money and now clung to memories. A fireplace unlit. Dust on the windowsill. One bed. I'll take the floor, Ethan offered, his voice clipped. Nora set her bag down slowly. You don't have to. I know. They hadn't seen each other since the night she left, her letter tucked beneath his pillow, 2 sentences long. No explanations. Just silence. She'd heard he'd gone back to New York. Took that job he swore he'd never take. She never expected to run into him in a crumbling hotel during a thunderstorm, like the universe had been waiting for this one moment to throw them together again. She turned toward the window, arms crossed. What are you doing here, Ethan? He laughed under his breath, a sound without joy. Funeral. My aunt. She raised me, remember? She flinched. I remember. He sat on the edge of the bed, head bowed. What about you? Still running. The question landed with a sting. She turned away, hiding the sharp edge in her throat. No. Just driving. I didn't know where I was going. So nothing's changed, he muttered. A beat of silence passed like a held breath. The storm outside rattled the windows. Inside, the tension thickened, years of unspoken words pressing against the walls. Nora finally sat down in the armchair across from him. The room smelled faintly of lavender and old wood. She studied his face, older, rougher around the edges, but the eyes were the same. Haunted. Beautiful. Still dangerous to her. I never stopped thinking about you, she said quietly. Ethan looked up. You have a hell of a way of showing it. I was scared, she admitted. Back then. Of how much I felt. Of what it meant. He rose, pacing slowly, hands on his hips. You could have told me that. You could have said anything. Instead, I woke up and you were just gone. Her voice trembled. I didn't think I deserved you. That stopped him. He turned slowly, jaw clenched. You don't get to decide what I deserve, Nora. I know. She looked down. But I did. And I regret it every day. The silence was almost deafening now. Then Ethan spoke, softer this time. You broke me. She stood, something fragile rising in her chest. You think I didn't break too? He stepped closer. Close enough she could feel the heat of him. You left without a goodbye. I wrote a letter. You call that a letter? He shook his head, eyes burning. It killed me. Nora's voice dropped. It killed me too. And then something in him cracked. He moved back to the bed, sitting with his head in his hands. God, I don't even know why I'm talking to you right now. Because you still care, she whispered. Even if you hate that you do. Ethan looked up at her again, the walls in his eyes beginning to crumble. I don't know what I feel anymore. She walked to the fireplace, brushing dust from the mantel. I do. It's everything. All at once. He didn't respond. Instead, they stood in that thick, aching quiet, the kind that wraps around you when you're too tired to lie and too scared to speak the truth. Eventually, she found the matches and lit the fireplace. The room glowed in amber light, shadows dancing along the walls. Ethan watched her, eyes softening. I used to dream about this, he said, almost to himself. Us? A room. A storm outside. But in the dream you stayed. She turned slowly. What would you say if I said I wish I had? I'd ask why you didn't. Nora walked to the edge of the bed, sitting down across from him. The flames flickered between them. I thought love meant losing yourself, she said. But I didn't realize not loving you meant I lost more. He studied her face. You don't get to come back and rewrite the past. I'm not trying to. Her voice cracked. I'm trying to survive it. A long silence fell between them, thick with emotion. Then Ethan spoke quietly. I couldn't be with anyone after you. Not really. I tried. I dated. But every time it felt like cheating. On a ghost. Nora's eyes welled. I haven't been with anyone either. Not since you. Their gazes locked. The moment stretched raw, real, dangerous. Then his voice, barely above a whisper. I hate how much I still want you. She reached for his hand. Then hate me later. Just, not tonight. He didn't pull away. They sat in silence as the fire crackled, the storm outside echoing the one in their hearts. Time blurred. They talked about everything and nothing. The lives they'd lived apart. The dreams that didn't come true. The scars they still carried. Ethan revealed how his mother's death changed him, how he never really stopped waiting for Nora to come back. Nora told him about the panic attacks, the way she self-sabotaged anything that felt too good. You always thought you were too much, he murmured. I was. No, he said. You were never enough for yourself. But you were everything to me. She pressed her forehead to his shoulder. I still am, Ethan. He didn't speak, just held her. For a long, trembling moment. It wasn't about forgiveness. It was about finally being seen. The fire burned lower. The room dimmed. Shadows softened. They lay on the bed, facing each other, inches apart. Neither reached for the other. Not yet. There was no rush. There was only breath and silence, and the pulse of something ancient stirring between them. I'm scared, she whispered. So am I. What if we break again? Then we break together, he said. But I'd rather break with you than live whole without you. A single tear slipped down her cheek. Ethan reached out, wiped it away. Their fingers intertwined. There in that quiet room with one night between past and future, they began again. Not with a kiss but with the truth. And sometimes that's even more intimate. Morning came slowly, golden light pushing against the storm's remnants. The rain had stopped. The fire was out. But something inside both of them had been reignited. They didn't talk much over coffee. There was no need. The silence was no longer heavy. It was full. Of understanding. Of possibility. As they stood by the window watching the world wake up, Nora turned to him. What now? Ethan didn't answer right away. He just looked at her. Really looked at her and then said, We don't run this time. She nodded. And for the first time in years she believed it.